for Roman Pirates. It's going to be a little bit of a surprise here.
Interesting.
Okay, so is Croto still
Oh, he's
Joel?
He's brought.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like this actually might be really, I don't know, because Prop Paladin is normally good into cleave, but when you're the only one healing, I would have said, okay, Drainer wins if he was running with a healer and a prot, but he's the only one that's going to be healing, and they might just run at him with Frost Death Knight AoE and absolutely destroy the whole team. So this is going to be a real test for Drainer, a world first prot solo healer in a tournament, eliminating second place from last week to qualify, already getting immense pressure on both Croto and Houston. Drainer just playing max range, generating holy power with his hammers and tossing in words of glory to his team. He can avoid using mana this way and avoid having to cast as well. So the only way they can really try and play around this is crowd controlling him, but they're kind of limited on that with a Death Knight and a Warrior. It's going to be interesting to see how Roman Pirates deal with this threat.
I feel like this actually is great because when Drainer goes on his Divine Steed, he's immune to crowd control. So Croto and Houston, they want to set up big goes on that. Let's see if they can survive. Sacrifice onto Saza. Let's see, do they have the healing? Drainer just avoiding crowd control on the Divine Steed. Goes in the sacrifice. That wasn't the Ice Block. That wasn't the Cauterize, and they do manage to hold on. They just have to stabilize a little bit longer. Looks like Burley is caught into a full Intimidating Shout. Do they hammer Justice out of it? Drainer throwing in some damage as well. And Houston is getting low, but I was going to say the one good thing, I mean, Drainer, every time the Frost Death Knight wants to do a setup, if he goes on his Divine Steed, he's going to be immune to crowd control, and he can just run out of it freely, avoid all that crowd control, and spam out some heals to keep his team alive. And so far, Creed is looking stable, and Burley, look at his mana. It's not going good. That's the one thing Creed has going for them. Well, they have a few things, but Drainer actually doesn't have a mana bar. As a protection paladin, he can just infinitely heal as long as he has the holy power for Word of Glories. And Burley's going to be on that timer with that Restoration Shaman.
There is so many interesting things about this match. We're going to have our first Prop Paladin already. But another thing is that Houston is one of the best Demon Hunters in Europe, and so is Tren. And they're both going to be playing that Warrior here in this matchup. And you're going to see Saza. So the biggest thing here, the biggest weakness right now for Creed is whenever Drainer doesn't have his wings, his healing is going to be very limited. That's when he's going to be having to rotate through his cooldowns. And right now, it's still 30 seconds on his wings. So this setup right here could be quite deadly. Let's see what they can do here. Here comes the spear, here comes the chill streak, here comes the damage. Croto spamming out the grips here with the Necrolord as well. Let's see what they can get done. But Saza responding pretty well here. And Drainer now going in for solo crowd control, just charging through like a bulldozer there, getting a Hammer of Justice. And another thing that the Prop Paladin brings, and aside from crazy instant healing, CC immunity, is the fact that he will have a ranged silence. So Drainer sometimes is going to be going for a Hammer of Justice into a ranged silence. You see it bouncing back and forth right there. And that's going to be adding in a lot of extra pressure, a lot of extra lockdown. The weakness, I would say, is that they don't have a dispel. So anytime somebody gets crowd controlled, there's no real dispel there. But Drainer, once again, charging in there, bouncing everybody away, just causing a little bit of extra, chaos there in the middle.
Full polymorph on the Shaman. Croto isolated, but they stun up Trend. Grip into a triple stun, but a triple Dragon's Breath in return from Saza. Combustion gets popped to scare away the Death Knight. I love that reaction from Saza, totally shutting down the setup. Croto down to half. Burley's mana not looking good. That's going to be a win condition here for Creed. They can just run the Shaman out of mana. Maybe just overwhelm him with damage. They disarm Trend. Charging in once again, Storm Bolting, trying to keep their pressure. Burley in a stun. Croto going to trade Icebound Fortitude. Creed have been getting cooldown after cooldown and not really able to find any dents onto Creed. They grip Drainer. Drainer just charges the grip, immuning it, going right after Burley. Burley's trying to run for the hills like, what is this Prop Paladin chasing me? Drainer retreats back to his side of the map. Both healers playing max range, and Creed will just continue to hold a neutral position and try and win on mana at this point, I think.
This is great for Creed. I mean, just thinking about it, I didn't really realize how powerful. I mean, I realized it, but in this particular matchup, being able to completely immune the goes with your Divine Steed is just so powerful for the side of Drainer. Croto right now in a little bit of trouble. Full Ring of Frost lands. Roman Pirates are going to be in some trouble here. Burley already down to 50% mana, and Creed, it just looks like they aren't taking damage in this match. I mean, their health has just been so stable so far. Not what you would really expect, but Tren trying to reconnect to his target. Looks like Saza is just going to be kiting away. Drainer as well, playing the range game perfectly, trying to reset that combustion. And Saza already has another combustion available. And Crota's going to have to respond with that anti-magic zone if they can set it up correctly. Drainer once again playing max range. Dragon's Breath into potential full sheep, gets gripped. Beautiful denial there by Crota. Drainer moves in. Like he wants to get the hammer. Justice Saza's going to be taking a lot of damage, but immunity. See that Guardian of the Forgotten Queen going to completely protect Saza in that situation. Ben getting a little bit low, going to be using the Die by the Sword. This is a scary moment. If Creed can stabilize, it's going to be looking good. He gets low. Sacrifice trades out onto Saza. Still not able to proc the Cauterize or the Ice Block. Tren in the meantime getting low. Big heal coming in from Drainer. And it looks like he will be able to get topped off. Drainer doing a great job keeping his team alive. Burley down to around 40% mana. And it looks like they're going to just continue this assault onto Croto, do as much consistent damage as they can, get crowd control on Burley, and then just stay alive from the big one-shots of the Frost Death Knight. And Creed is looking good.
Oh man, look at this crowd control chain right now. Croto Houston down to half. Burley struggling to recover. They do finally disrupt some damage on Tren and Saza with that disarm and pummel. Tren with no Die by the Sword. Not many options for him to survive, actually, if Roman Pirates decide to make a swap to him. But the pressure is still in favor of Creed. Tren using Door of Shadows to reconnect. Drainer knocking his opponents all over the map. Burley popping Ascendance, but struggling to recover. Hammers are down. Croto's in trouble. 8 seconds away. Burley saves the day with that Spirit Link outplay.
Yeah, but that's Trinket and Spirit Link. I mean, Creed right now, they haven't used any cooldowns besides, I mean, Tren is the one who's most vulnerable in this matchup. Drainer once again going to use the Divine Seed, knock everyone away, and just really disrupt their damage. Tren just basically the main tank at this point, despite having Drainer on the roster. He is going to be the one that takes most of the damage. Saza doing a great job just playing max range, resetting combustion. Mana's burning down for Burley, and Creed is in a very commanding position here, Zico.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Saza ripping out the damage with his combustion, and that's something that we're going to be seeing here as dampening continues to ramp up. It's all about just getting your damage off here. You're going to see big Meteor there as well, hitting the Earth Elemental of Burley, and Saza just going to be resetting that again. Rune of Powers gets gripped on it. There's the stun. Chrono, though, getting absolutely obliterated, and look at Drainer just charging in, knocking everybody away. Anytime the setup is looking good, he just disrupts it with that Divine Steed, and then once again just returning to that max range position. Drainer has his wings now, so they want to be aggressive here on the side of Creed. This is when they have the most amount of healing, when literally nobody can die on their team. Drainer's going to be trinketing that fear, but he's going to get immediately storm bolted here once again. A couple of more seconds left on that Avenging Wrath, going for the Hammer of Justice here onto Burley, potentially a Silence to follow it up as well, and there it is from Drainer as well, coming in with the Silence, coming in with the triple knock as well. And then there's the disarm now onto Trent, trying to slow his assault down. But if you look at the big picture here, Saza has his Ice Block, he's got his Cauterize, Drainer's got, Sacrifice and all his bubbles, essentially, Blessing of Protection. Burley's mana is now looking good, and everybody on the side of Roman Pirates here are just being pressured big time here by Creed. And honestly, the Pro Paladin is going to outlast the Shaman in this matchup, and there's no real win condition, because the only way the TSG, the Warrior, and the DK wins is if they can grip somebody in, get that Kyrian Spear down, and get that Chill Streak bouncing. But that's not going to happen every time Drainer just charges in and knocks everybody around. And also with all of the pro immunity, it's just going to be really hard to set that up. And I really feel like Creed at this point, they're just going to win in the long game here if they can just keep doing damage and just survive.
That was a nice pre-earthen wall by Burley, anti-magic zone. Now they're setting up for a kill. Huge damage. Drainer denies it with that Guardian Queen out in midfield, channeling Divine Shield on Tren. Tren is laying waste right now, popping that Warp Breaker, going to battle stance. Gets disarmed, though, in battle stance. Might be a punish from Houston. Tren has to retreat. Unable to trade. Managing to use Heroic Leap. Saza now the target, popping Mirror Images. Down at half, Houston on target. Croto trying to make his way to Saza, but he is taking a beating by Tren on his way down there. Drainer's got Avenging Wrath, though. His healing is quite high. If they lock Burley in crowd control, there's the Hammers of Justice. Croto trades Icebound Fortitude. Death Strike after Death Strike, desperately trying to recover, sacrificing the Ghoul, trying to get as much healing as possible. Abomination Limb is out. This is where Croto needs to get a kill. They've got that Syndra Gosa. They could drop a stun across the entire team. They need to get that chill streak off here, but they're just not even denting the health bars. They're the ones dying during their cooldowns. Ascendant's now popped. Burley's desperate to stabilize the team. He's using cooldowns to save mana, as he's only got about a sliver of it left here. Dampening continues to get higher. It will become more and more difficult for him to recover. Dropping that earthen wall on the fear. Burley making excellent plays here. Grip into double blinding sleet. Nice setup. Drainer charges in to try and disrupt it a little bit. Will he be able to save the day? Using Blessing Protection, dodging the dragon on his steed. Sasa blinking away from the AoE. Nice positioning from Creed here. If they can stabilize, Trend needs to just get away from the fight. Houston leaping after him. Trend charges, baits his leap, reconnects on the Crota with the Stormbolt. Burley in crowd control. Croto in trouble. No one can escape crowd control. Rally comes up in one, but now Houston disarmed. Burley slips in the Spirit Link Totem once again, keeping his team in the fight to try and find any opportunity that they can deeper into dampening.
Yeah, this game is getting crazy. Now Creed is actually struggling. Drainer's really struggling to keep his team alive at this point. 31% dampening.
Oh!
Trent gets caught into a stun. Is there anything for him? He's getting low. Drainer charges in, but that is it. Roman Pirates, they hold on and they say enough of this shenanigans and put the first point on the board, but quite miraculous. I mean, Creed, they're able to last till 31% dampening. There was lots of moments of opportunity for them in that game. That was a really difficult matchup for Roman Pirates. They were able to hold on, and despite the Shaman not having much mana left in the tank, they were able to put a point on the board and take down Trend in that matchup. But definitely really interesting to see how close that was.
Is that the right word, Ben? Interesting.
Certainly.
Well, this is the weakness right now of the Pro. At this point in the game, they just need to survive on the side of Creed. Anytime that Wings is down, that Avenging Wrath, they're not going to have that much healing. They're going to have, a couple of Word of Glories, but the actual sustained healing is not going to be the same as, like a Holy Paladin spamming out heals, right? So that's going to be the big weakness here. And you can see if they can just survive here for just a little bit longer, if Trent can live for about 50 more seconds there, actually 30 because Drainer ran into the Heartstop R there. If they could live for about 30 more seconds, they probably win that game. Burley was so tapped on mana, and they just needed a little bit more healing power there. Once you have those wings, your whole team is immune to death. And that was a good punish, though, by the Roman Pirates.
All right, 1-0 for Roman Pirates against Creed. Do we expect them to try and make this Prop Paladin work for game number 2, CPTs?
I mean, they don't have to. He could just play Holy. I mean, I don't... Would Holy really be that much worse? I feel like... I mean, maybe Prod is actually better. Yeah, I mean, Prod might actually just be better. It's more damage, more immunities for all of the crowd control bursts. I mean, I actually think in this specific matchup, Prot might be better. What are you going to dispel? You can't. There's nothing to dispel against Warrior Death Knight. There literally is nothing to dispel, so it's not like you're losing anything to not have it. Maybe they're positioning towards the end. Maybe they were just they thought they had the game, so they were trying to push for the kill, and then they just weren't getting it. And they traded too many cooldowns to stay aggressive. They could have used Freedom, tried to kite and avoid damage at that point. It always becomes almost like a completely different game when you get deeper into dampening. You spend the first 5 minutes not really taking damage, and maybe you're just kind of lulled into this false sense of security. And then when 30% healing reduction kicks in, you still think that you're as durable as you were pre-dampening, and you maybe just overstay. Maybe Roman Pirates also just found their footing. Going after the Warrior seemed like it worked out a lot better than going after the Mage, ultimately netting the kill on him. It looks like Creed picked the small map, which I wasn't expecting, into the Frost Death Knight. This is a bit strange. What are they trying to plan with a small map? There's no way it can be better for them.
They have.
Are they gonna switch off the Mage?
I was gonna say, well, they have other. Yeah, they could switch off the Mage. They could bring in Cervantes on the DK and play a mirror, but with a prot. Or they could also have Tren. They could have Tren swap over to his Demon Hunter. No, I'm just kidding. Probably to his Windwalker. No, they're going to play the same matchup. Why the smaller map?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is the only comp they're going to play. I think it's either with a Holy or a Prot, and then they go hook point. Is it a bait? Are they going to randomly kill the shaman. They're like, hey, we picked this map. You're going to AoE us. You're going to be like frothing at the mouth to try and go after us with all your cooldowns, and you're going to overextend, and we're just going to kill your shaman. Like, is this a big bait or something? Because it doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely strange here. What Creed is doing here. We got the Proud Paladin, we've got small maps on Hook Point. Hey, Super Teas, have you made a healing tier list video yet?
I put Prop Paladin high on it. I put it above Mistweaver,
Okay,
Holy Priest, and Resto Druid, I think.
I was gonna say you should maybe redo it, but it sounds like you already knew.
It is accurate.
It's up to date for the series.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going into Hook Point. Roman Pirates already up 1-0. Also, just a shout out to our friend Tren on Creed here for providing us with his feed. I think he had some of my favorite moments last year when he was on Coffin Dance, and they would like win a game, and he would do his little this thing. But yeah, it's definitely cool to see those feeds from our players who do this thing. I don't know. What do you want to call it? His coffin dance? Remember when he would win and he would like do this? All right. You know what, guys? Listen. People in chat know what I'm talking about when Coffin Dance would win. But it is game number 2, Roman Pirates versus Creed, 1-0.
Yeah.
Haters.
Here we go. I mean, Creed, can they make it work? Going to a smaller map, which is a bit of an interesting development. Maybe they do want to switch up their targeting. Maybe they want to go after Burley a little bit more in the match. I'm not exactly sure. It seemed like Draenor playing at range was really, really important. Actually trying to knock him out in the open. It looks like who are they going after? It looks like they're just going after Crotto. So basically the same thing. Burley going to be caught into a full polymorph. Big damage on Crotto. Immediately having to run and hide. They shred through the anti-magic shell. They get the anti-magic zone. This is not a bad start for Creed whatsoever.
Yep, definitely not. They force out decent amount of cooldowns, and now it's actually Roman Pirates' turn to get aggressive here. Houston going to be laying waste to his opponents here with that Blade Storm, looking to get some counter pressure here. Draenor, though, pushing in here, just trades out the early sacrifice and looking for maybe some crowd control here onto Birdie. He's just standing on top of him. After that fear, he's going to be dropping the Hammer of Justice to get a sheep onto Houston. And now Saza is going to be swapping that sheep over to the healer. Crotto taking decent amount of damage. Houston realizing that, hey, my DK is in trouble here. Going to be dropping that Disarm onto Tren, but now instead, he's going to be the new target. And honestly, I don't know how much I like the CCing on the Shaman here pre-damp. I feel like just try to burn through his mana as much as possible and just cleave as much as possible. I feel like if they can just burn Burley's mana a little bit quicker than they were able to last game, that could be a big winning condition for them later, seeing how Draenor really hasn't had any problems whatsoever with his mana bar. But now here we go. Big setup. Double Ring of Frost coming through. Crotto going to be trading his Trinket. Already traded out his Icebound Fortitude. And maybe just going for these consistent setups is actually the way to win pre-damp. Yeah, the next one is going to be Burley's Trinket Spirit Link here. So not a bad opener at all. But Tren now taking a lot of damage here. As you can see, Draenor doesn't have his wings. That means Tren has very limited healing here on his team. And there it is, Guardian of the Forgotten Queen. Going to be traded out here. And Tren going to be feeling very safe and comfortable to go for another setup here.
Whoa!
Whoa! Dragon's Breath on the Trinket. If Saza can get a polymorph here, that could be massive. And that's going to be the Trinket Spirit Link immediately. So I guess they picked this map because they just want to keep doing these consistent triple CC setups and try to win the game that way.
I mean, it's looking good. They're getting kind of owned at the moment. Burley's trying to recover from that attack. Tren popping that Avatar. Can't really make it to a target. Charging into a Disarm. I really like this outplay from Houston, shutting down Tren's Avatar. Crotto in a Hammer of Justice, but no one really able to do too much damage, so he is chilling there on the Frost Death Knight. Draenor repositioning away from the AoE, not wanting to get gripped in just yet. Sacking up his Holy Power in the back line. Houston now disarmed. Tren trying to go after the warrior. Maybe now Crotto's still the target. Grip. Saza tries to Night Face Soul Shape. Draenor charges in to knock them away, but they are locked down, and that double chill streak bounces with the Syndragosa hit. Saza pre-alter times going back to full health. Nice play. Draenor pushing in on top of Burley. Houston charges over. Hammer of Justice, but Meteor could crack Crotto. Down to half, trading any magic shield. So Saza was interrupted on the crowd control. They totally shut down Saza there. Beautiful defense from Roman Pirates. Their mana is looking still good. As long as they can maintain that into dampening, they could overwhelm a target. They've been getting a lot more pressure in game 2 going after Tren.
Yeah, no question about it. Tren getting a little bit low. I mean, he was the target that did fall in game number 1, so kind of using him as the main pressure point. Definitely a smart decision. Looks like Draenor will get gripped in as well. Crota just putting out split pressure. And looks like Fuston's actually going over after Saza. So a bit of a split strategy here. Fuston finally leaping over. Now able to get double the pressure out onto Tren. Draenor went for crowd control. Burley and a Hammer of Justice. The Polymorph gets interrupted. Dragon's Breath. And Saza get the Polymorph. He's going to potentially just go for it. And I'm noticing something from Saza in this game is he's actually not using his Meteor. Like most of the time he's getting off these combustions. He's just not even dropping the Meteor. And I kind of wonder if with this composition and with this strategy, he should just switch over his talents over to Kindling and get combustion even more often. Since the Meteor's not being dropped anyways, you get your combustion way more often, and maybe their setups would just be a lot more threatening, and they'd be able to burn through the cooldowns, at a quicker rate and pull out victory earlier. So maybe an adjustment for game number 3. This one doesn't go their way. Full Polymorph does land onto Burley. Proto once again forced to use the AMS, and that should be enough for him to survive for now. Burley crowd control ends, and he's going to be able to get out those Resto Shaman heals. But once again, pre-damp, Drainer's mana is going to be looking good, and that's not really going to be a factor in this game. Burley's going to be the only one that really has to worry about it at this point in the game. Saza getting absolutely deleted right now, getting lower and lower. Are they going to get the Cauterize? Can he get away? Soul Shape lands. Fuston's still all over him. Draenor needs to get some heals. Avenging Wrath does land. Stormbolt, and the big heal comes in from Draenor. Saza able to hold on.
Beautiful plays there. And now Crota taking a lot of damage here. Draenor has those wings up, which means that they can just do whatever they want here. On the side of Creed, they get the Hammer of Justice onto Burley. No follow-up crowd control to be found, though. And Tren is just going to be doing a lot of pressure here on that Warrior, using that sharpened blade and just trying to get as much pressure as possible here. But now, once again, going to see Crota trying to set up here for the double shield streak. But look at Draenor just charging up on the speed, immunes the Stormbolt, knocks everybody up. Saza's going to be blinking away from that shield streak, not allowing it to bounce. And now that Abomination's Limb is going to be doing some work here for Crota, but don't think it's going to be enough here to actually force any real pressure. Drainer's sacrifice going to be ending. Saza actually taking a lot of damage here. Cauterize is going to trigger here. How is Draenor going to respond? Word of Glory's coming out here onto Saza. He gets the intervene there as well. And Draenor pushing in now for a cross push here. Nice defensive Guardian of the Forgotten Queen there onto Tren, but they actually Stormbolt it there. Nice play there by Fuston. And this is the moment where we're talking about Draenor has no wings and he had to use his bubbles. And now Crota taking a lot of damage. Burley's going to be trinketing there. That was the anti-magic zone as well from Crota. So both teams trading out a lot of defense there as we just entered dampening here.
All right, we'll see what they can get done. Crota has his big lineup available. He can go for a massive amount of damage if Tren and Saza stack up. No die by the sword. Scary moment for Tren. They Stormbolt Crota. They're trying to lay in some damage here, but Icebound Fortitude will be more than enough to trade as Burley escapes crowd control. Draenor generating Holy Power, getting ready for the next hit. Tren charging back over to the Death Knight, popping that Warbreak, but he charges into a double Blinding Sleet. Saza blinks away with double Dragon's Breath, gets grip, gets Night Fade away. Nice kiting from Saza, avoiding that big AoE push from Crota. Tren getting single targeted down. Draenor struggling to heal him. Tren leaping away with that freedom. I like this. Just kiting away from the damage dealers. Buy time for Draenor to generate Holy Power to get him back up to full health. Burley now in a stun. Crota in trouble. Hammers are down. Crota escapes, popping the anti-magic shield. Nice defense from Crota. Trent's still trying to get through it. Defensive Cinder Ghost stun from Crota. Buying more time for Burley. Burley's mana in a decent position here at 13%. Dampening, I think, a bit better than in game 1. And they were able to win even with him at 0. Hex onto the mage, just getting Saza out of the fight. Focusing down Tren. Tren intervening back to Draenor with freedom. I like that coordination of the mobility and the blessing of freedoms to make sure that Tren can get to safety. But now he's disarmed. They're trying to kill Fuston here. They managed to pull Die by the Sword, but here comes the Abomination Limb. Crota is going to be pulling in attackers and AoEing them down. That Spear Bastion comboed with it as well. No one is escaping Roman Pirates during this assault, but maybe they don't want to. They want to stay in close quarters. Crota taking the brunt of that exchange. Burley, Ascendant's coming up in 10, playing in the back line, waiting for that. Draenor charging in, tossing his opponents around like rag dolls. Tren, though, having to trade Die by the Sword. Back and forth between these teams in game 2, and anyone could take it.
Yeah, 20% dampening, and this is where we saw Draenor kind of start struggling to heal on that protection specialization. Roman Pirates, although they have a mana bar, they just need to hold on a little bit longer if they can, and eventually they'll be able to power through that healing. Draenor is going to be using the Divine Shield to push forward. This is Combustion from Saza. Keep in mind, he's got no Cauterize. He does has the Ice Block. He does has the Ice Block, but it has to be, a very cautious situation for them because without that cheat death, They can get taken down really, really quickly, so definitely can't play as greedy in the match, especially at this point in dampening when things are falling apart here for Creed. This map is backfiring for them. Trend getting really low. No defensive cooldowns. Down to 10% health. Catches a huge heal there by Drainer. Double stun coming in. Ice Walk forced out, and Trend is going to potentially get dropped. He's trying to Blade Storm away. He's trying to kite Drainer, barely able to keep him alive, but I don't know how much longer he really can. Guardian of the Forgotten Queen is traded out, and Drainer looking like he will be able to hold on, but things are unraveling here very quickly on the side of Creed.
Yeah, and that was the wings right there of Drainer now, just rotating back up. He had to use it immediately. So this is basically the last defensive CD rotation from the side of Creed. And honestly, it's looking good for Roman Pirates. And Burley still has that Trinket Spirit Link. Not too much mana left in the tank, but Shamans can go for quite some time. They're kind of like a camel. They don't need to drink very often. And now we're going to see a Blinding Sleet come out here onto Tran, and he is going to be kind of shut down from the game here for a second. Saza, no Ice Block, no Cauterize. What is he going to do? He drops the Dragon's Breath. He's looking for a little bit of defense here from Drainer. He gets the Sacrifice here, but there is the Abomination's Limb pulling him back into the action, but still managing to get some distance there away from the enemy warrior. Houston in a sheep, cross crowd control here onto Burley, full Ring of Frost secured. Drainer, no wings for another minute almost, a little bit more even, and Sansa here, he's gonna have to do some work here. He gets finally pulled back into the Spear of Bastion, almost goes down there, and he does get a little bit of defense. It's gonna be enough. Drainer with the Word of Glory, keeping him alive, barely charges in here just to disrupt everybody there with those prop protection knocks, but I don't think Sansa's gonna be making it away here. Crota is just all over him. There's the stun, there's Houston as well, big damage coming out, and Trent as well, super low. Who's gonna fall? Looks like a double kill here, and there's the egg from the Night Fae. Can they protect the seed? It does not look like it, and that is going to be 2-0 for Roman Pirates.
Okay, so far it doesn't really look like the Proud Paladin's working out too well here, but Roman Pirates, like Zico said, up 2-0 now, putting themselves on match point. The stakes are getting higher and higher as we progress through this series, and man, these guys are definitely gonna have to figure something out on the side of Creed. And now I wonder if they really did make that wrong decision here on this with Hook Point as that map, Ven.
I mean, the small map was definitely, it seemed like things, it was actually relatively the same time. It's about that 20% dampening where things really start unraveling. You can see Saza just getting taken down, Drainer really struggling to keep him alive. And, you know, eventually he does get dropped here, but it's just dampening is just so high. Drainer's throughput at this point of the game is just not the best. Although he has the mana, you just can't spend that mana enough to actually get out the heals. And it looks like Saza will end up falling, almost a double kill here once the seed does fall. But I wonder for Creed what they need to do is kind of adjust and switch over to a cleave specialization of their own. They have Cervantes on their roster. And I'm kind of curious to see how like a prop paladin DK warrior would go into Resto Shaman DK warrior. Like, who would come out ahead?
They don't have Cervantes. He's not able to play.
Yeah, he's...
Okay, well there you go.
The solution is Tren on the Demon Hunter. That's my vote.
Demon Hunter Mage. I feel like I feel like Warrior Ignore Pain and D-Stance is like one of the main reasons why Prop Paladin can heal that long. The Mage and the Warrior are both like really durable. You bring a Demon Hunter.
And you know what? We've already got one tank. Why don't we just put him on Vengeance?
Whoa.
While we're at it.
Whoa, they're breaking the rules then. You can't play two tanks.
Yeah,
true. You're right. You're right.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but Drainer actually managed to do almost the same damage as the Mage in that game. So I guess that's one of the added benefits of having the protection specialization is you heal a lot, but you also do a lot of damage. So I kind of wonder if the Mage Saza in this matchup can experiment a little bit more with his build to try to get out more consistent combustions, because it seems like they're almost at that threshold of pushing through all the defensive cooldowns they need, but they're slightly behind, and there seems to always be an answer for their go. Whereas if they could do a big burst setup a little bit more frequently, maybe they could actually find a moment to close out the game before dampening gets too high where Drainer can't really sustain anymore.
So if we wanted them to continue playing this Prop Paladin, would we rather see them switch up their DPS or maybe choose a different map or different strategy going into it? Zico, what do you think is their best move if they do decide to keep running that Prop Paladin with Drainer?
I was just about to say that. So in the last game, it looked like from the get-go, their plan was, okay, we're going to go in, we're going to play almost like a rogue mage, we're going to play perfect CC chains, we're going to get a lot of pressure, and they did a really good job landing those consistent setups, but let's be honest, you're not going to win that way. This game will be going to dampening no matter what you do here. You know, the DK has a lot of self-sustain, and Warriors are super tanky. Shamans, you know, if he drops a pre-earthen wall or anything like that before the setup, it's going to make it really hard to get those kills. And the only real way I see them winning that way is, you know, if Roman Pirates really mess up their defensives, they maybe use too much for one setup, something like that. So I think play to your strengths here. The Prop Paladin, he's like an ocean. He just has infinite mana. Just run forever. And you know, eventually, Burley, he's gonna go out of mana. It's gonna take a little while, but you know, if you do hit that 40-50% damp threshold, you're just gonna passively win with one combustion, just being, you know, unhealable damage. So I think that's the way Creed wins this matchup. I don't think they need to even change anything other than just go to a big map and play around those setups the same way they did on Nagrand, because that game was really close. And I think if they played their defense a little bit better that game, they could have easily walked away with a win in that game.
All right, well, we're going to see here if they can get a game number 3 victory for Roman Pirates, or is Creed going to be able to pull off this Prop Paladin? They are going to a larger map here. They are on Ash Domains. Maybe they have a better chance. It's game number 3, Roman Pirates 2-0 versus Creed.
All right, gates are open. Let's see if Crota and Fuston can get in there. They're charging right towards Tren and Saza. They use Death and Decay, and did they hit him with that? I think they got him, so no invisibility. They stun Burley. Crota stunned up. Beautiful crowd control here. They're going after Burley, maybe? Now Tren gets disarmed. He's just retreating away. I like that. Just avoid taking damage while you don't have your weapon and can't attack back. I think that's a wise move. Fuston's charging in at Saza. They interrupt Ring of Frost, blinking back with Polly. They need to try and dampen and extend the game and win on that advantage of mana. Saza blinking away from the Abomination's Limb, gripped again by the Abomination Limb. Spear Bastion whiffs on Saza. Saza is able to escape from it. However, he's taking a ton of damage regardless, using that Soul Shape, trying to avoid Fuston. Fuston chasing after that pesky Night Fae Mage, getting pretty angry at this point. I know Warriors hate chasing mages. Burley stunned up in a swap. They knock him out of Anti-Magic Zone. Nice counter to that cooldown. I like this, going after the Shaman, mixing it up. Almost netting a kill, but Burley with solid defense as would be expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great anti-magic zone that dropped out as well, so that was definitely a huge contributing factor, but the fact that Draenor can just knock him out of that, definitely something to consider, and I really like that they're going after Burley in the matchup. Once again, a full Hammer of Justice is going to land. Crota lands a double stun with that legendary empowering his Cindergosa. Let's see what they can get done. They're actually still just going after Tren in the matchup. I think what Zico said is correct. I want Creed to just sit back, focus on damage. When Combustion's available, that's when you go after Burley and really try to pressure him. But at this point of the game, I feel like just overextending yourself and forcing Draenor to spam out more heals that are necessary and kind of compromising your position, I think it's a little bit risky. And when you get gripped in together and you're stuck, I mean, like we see Tren right now, this is when the Frost Death Knight is really going to be able to rip in and put out a lot of damage, and they do manage to net out the die by the sword, as well as the sacrifice from Draenor. So positioning, if they're all clumped up behind the pillar, that's exactly what you do not want. You want to be in the open, get your big cooldowns out, and then go after Burley. And Burley's going to take a little bit of a hit, but without that combustion, I just don't think Creed has the throughput to actually take him down.
Yeah, and Burley, like you mentioned already, having to trade through some of his cooldowns. There was the Spirit Walker's Grace, and he's going to have his Astral Shift rotating back up, but I like this a lot more. Just have Saza sit back, don't go for too many risky polys, and, you know, you can see Draenor is just playing max range. Everybody is just focusing on doing damage and surviving Roman Pirates kind of assaults here, and I think that's exactly what they need to focus on. Just get some stuns, and that's it. Now we're going to get a full fear here onto Burley. He's going to have to trinket that because so much pressure was onto Fuston, as well as Crota. Fuston trading out that Rallying Cry. Crota trading out his Anti-Magic Shell as well there. So you can see Tren just sitting in a root right now. Doesn't really want to push in too far behind there. And now Drainer's actually going to go in and disrupt everybody, knock them out of the pillar. Here comes the Hammer of Justice. Big damage coming out here onto everybody on the side of the Roman Pirates. And they are going to be forcing out actually a Guardian of the Forgotten Queen here onto Tran. I think that was actually used kind of offensively there. And Croto still actually taking a lot of damage. Drainer with the blink, with the Shadow Step kick there, with the Night Fae. I think that's why he's playing that Night Fae, actually. What an excellent play. And that, again, the Prop Paladin going to be bringing in an Anchor of Burly. You know what he just got here? What? They just get the kick into another kick into the Hammer of Justice, and they slay Burly through his Astral Shift there, and they're going to be taking a quick win there.
I like that, and we're going to be able to see that in the replay. That was a really nice setup and a super unfortunate set of circumstances for Burly. It was just interrupt after stun, and eventually they were able to capitalize on that. But that looked a lot better. I think going after the Shaman made this matchup look a lot more convincing for me. And we actually, this is history being made. Protection Paladin solo healing. They were able to pick up a game. But Zico, this replay, this is going to be a nice one.
Yeah, look at that. He goes in, he gets the knock, and at this point, Burly, he sits through the first Hammer of Justice, and you can see Drainer just spamming out the silence. There's the offensive Guardian of Forgotten Queen to keep the pressure going. Every time he has Judgment, he's using it on cooldown, and Saza not going for any polys here. He's just playing on max range, doing a lot of damage. Chrono going to be dropping low, and there is the Shadow Step kick there onto Burly, kind of happening off screen there for a second, and then now Burly just focusing on healing up his teammates because he has that Astral Shift, but then Tren with a beautiful cross kick. They stun up, Fuse done there with the Storm Bolt, and Drainer cross crowd controls it with the Hammer of Justice, and they're going to be setting up that kill with a double stun. And that stun on Fuston by Tren was so important there because it stops, the intervene, the rallying cry, stops the warrior basically from shutting down the kill there. And that was just a great job there by the entire squad. Saza playing his role of just being far away as possible, doing as much damage as possible. Drainer just doing his thing, and Tren as well with that cross kick, as well as that synergy with those stuns.
Okay, it looks like they may turn it around here. They had a much better time on Ash Remains. That was their map choice, Creed. They were able to win game number 3 here. It's a best of 5 series, so they have the potential to turn it around. However, since Roman Pirates lost that last game, it is going to be their map choice. And we remember on Hook Point, they struggled with this composition, so they're going to have a difficult time reverse sweeping them. I mean, they basically have to win the next 2 games in a row if they want to win this series and not get knocked out of the tournament. So they're going to have a hard time. However, Creed, very capable team as we've seen in the past here. So for cup number 2, they really, really want to move forward in this bracket if they want to start earning some points for this team for Creed Supatees. What should they do here? If Roman Pirates locks in another small map, what is their best option so they don't have another hook point situation?
I think you just kill Shaman. I'm surprised that they didn't try that on hook point. I thought that was the whole point of picking it. I was like, the only way this makes sense is that you're going to be killing Shaman, and then they didn't do it. And then they picked a big map and they killed Shaman, and I'm like, well, if it works on the big map and you can kill the Shaman, it should work on the small maps too. You just didn't try it. So now, if I was Roman Pirates, I'd be worried. I mean, you died in 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Like that's a pretty short game considering how long some of these matches have been going. It seems a lot harder to keep the Shaman alive if they're able to go after him. So Roman Pirates are also only three-player roster, so I don't think they are very flexible. And the things that I know they could flex to, I don't think are great in the matchup. This is going to be hard for them. I mean, Creed, they were down 2. We're thinking, oh, the Prot's just a meme. They're going to get not washed away here. But now it's looking a little bit more real.
Yep, there it is. Dalaran Sirius Creed now going to be locking in their composition here. If they go with that same composition, then what do you suggest for Creed here if they want to reverse sweep it?
Well, I want them to focus on damage. So it's like the times we saw them fail is when we're seeing Saza like push in and try to go for these elaborate crowd control chains where, he's getting chain interrupted and he's basically wasting 20 seconds at a time. Instead, just attack and open up opportunities for yourself by doing damage. I mean, that's when the Shaman starts falling behind. Resto Shaman excels they're really, really good when all they have to do is drop, Healing Stream and put on Earth Shield and put on Riptide. But when they have to start casting spells because they're falling behind on single target healing, that's when, the weakness is exposed. And I think that's what Creed needs to focus on. Just focus on doing big damage and just winning a Hammer of Justice. Like, if you can get someone low, sharpen blade them, and then all of a sudden you just combustion and get a Hammer of Justice on the healer, that's just as effective as going in, Dragon's Breathing, trying to go for a sheep. You get interrupted, now Hammer of Justice, now a ring, and then you get gripped on that, and you're just wasting a lot of time. So I think Creed, go after the Shaman when they can find those opportunities, but other than that, just focus on doing as much damage as you can, and just creating those windows. Be unpredictable, attack multiple targets, try to win the game, and just these micro CCs and interrupts. I think Creed will excel a lot more if that's what they focus on.
Yeah, and I feel like they do have a solid chance here. If you look at Creed and the history of these players here for Trent and Drainer, especially, Drainer, he's always the one to try and do these like fun experiments. We saw him basically being one of the only healers that played Holy Priest at least consistently last year in BFA, and then we have Trent, who they did very well. He was very successful with Coffin Dance, playing that Demon Hunter, and they basically only had that one composition, and we saw them do very, very well as a team. So very, very capable team. We've got Saza coming in hot on that Fire Mage, and then Roman Pirates here. They're going to be locking in that same composition: Arms Warrior, Frost, DK, Burley once again on that Shaman. So this is definitely a difficult competitor for Creed. It is Dollar and Sewers, and like we've already mentioned, they've definitely struggled on that smaller composition here. So I'm wondering how difficult it's going to be, Supatees, for Creed to even make that connection on Dollar and Sewers, given the size of this map, given the shape of the map, and everything that Roman Pirates is capable of.
I'm confident in them. I feel like before dampening, Creed are invincible. I think the Prop Paladin healing is so crazy with Word of Glory that, but then when they get to 20% dampening, then they just start falling apart. So kind of just playing all in and playing aggressive and going after the Shaman and bouncing to different targets and just doing maximum damage while you have all of these immunities and powerful instant healing. That's what they need to do. Just go in and do as much damage as possible, end the game before that 20% dampening point.
All right, here we go. Trent's going to be moving forward. Let's see who they go after in this game. What we really want to see from them is just big pressure, especially coming in from Saza in this matchup. They're looking like they want to go after Burley immediately, but Saza actually cannot get there. So that was just a 2-on-1 effort there by Trent and Drainer. Unfortunately, Saza wasn't able to connect at all on that initial Hammer of Justice. And it looks like Saz is just going to be setting up as a turret, just spamming out Frostbolts, spamming out Fireballs, just putting out the pressure. This is exactly what we want him to see. They're getting caught into a little bit of crowd control. He's going to try to leap away, and it looks like Fuston's actually going to be going after Drainer. I don't know how much this is going to work out. Looks like Drainer should be okay, using some of his defensive cooldowns. Trent's still just sitting on Burley for the time being. Once he's in line of sight, I want to see Drainer go for a Hammer of Justice, Combustion, get pulled, and at least get the anti-magic zone out of the way. Looks like this will be the Combustion. Big damage on Burley. Anti-magic zone trades exactly as predicted. But Burley's still not out of the woods yet. Going to be camping in that zone to avoid some damage. Does get topped off. But now, just reset. Go back to just dealing as much damage as you can, surviving, reset Combustion, have it desynced with the anti-magic zone, and that's when you're going to start really being able to lay in and cause some pressure.
Yeah, and you can see now, Salazar is doing exactly... Oh, no, he just blinked in and tried to poly something. And this is kind of... Yeah, what we didn't really want to see is potentially going to land that poly. Actually, no, he lands it on Chrono, nice. So they're setting up a big setup here onto Burley, and he's actually going to swap that sheep. They didn't really get too much pressure here. Actually, Drainer is the one being a little bit pressured here by Fuston, and they're just chasing down Burley here. Both teams basically training down the quote-unquote healers, and we're going to see here Trent as well struggling a little bit to make his way to his target, and it's going to be Drainer actually being the one who's pressured here. Trent is just the saddest warrior right now, sitting in a root, trying to use his Door of Shadows there to get to his target and just gets rooted on it anyway. Very unfortunate for him. And Drainer going to be taking a lot of damage here. He's stunned up. This could be his Divine Shield, and he's going to be forced to use it. One Word of Glory coming out, line of sighting that Shattering Throw as well, and just spamming out the Judgment, spamming out the Word of Glories. He's going to have his wings coming back up, and that's going to be a good time for Creed. And I think right now, they're kind of doing what we said that we didn't really want to see. They're going for crowd control. They're trying to control the game too much. A wise man once said, "Do damage, don't die," and I think that's really the strategy here for Creed if they want to try to get that reverse sweep.
It's pre-earthen wall here from Burley, soaking all the damage during the Storm Bolt. Nice play by Burley. He might otherwise be dead right here, having to use a lot more cooldowns. Popping that Battlemaster for the combustion, stabilizing himself, rooting up Trend with that Earth Grab, repositioning, getting knocked for a moment, but recovering through the stuns is what matters for Burley here, and you can see him just getting ready for it every time. Earth Shield up, Riptide up. Now going for some cheeky plays, hexing Saza. They want to go after Drainer. He just used Divine Shield. All three members of Roman Pirates on top of Drainer. Drainer popping the Avenging Wrath, Trent getting out of the stun. He should be able to heal through this, but maybe not. His whole team is getting decimated right now. Roman Pirates going after Drainer is making this game incredibly difficult. Look at all the cooldowns they've forced on one attack. Trent is still very low on health, finally recovering thanks to that Word of Glory. They've switching up their strategy. They're going after Croto, maybe realizing they can't train the Shaman if they're going to train Drainer. So now they're trying to go back onto the DPS. But if they go onto the DPS, we've seen that Roman Pirates will win that matchup. And now Roman Pirates, with a target swap, a strategy change, have made this matchup look like it's in their favor again.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, look at Drainer. He's got no Trinket, no Divine Shield. No, he has nothing. He has literally no cooldowns. If they can get to him, Drainer's going to be in a lot of trouble. He's going to have to do a great job with his Divine Steed. See, he is caught into a stun. Can he get away? Trent just getting caught into roots. Avatar finally breaks down, trying to get back and peel if he can. Drainer caught into a full stun. Nice intervene there by Trent. Just trying to put a little bit of protection there onto Drainer. Full polymorph on Burley. Houston now in trouble. And this is the problem for the side of Roman Pirates. If you're just chasing after Drainer, Saza can go get free sheeps. He can just blink on top of Burley, Dragon's Breath, get a full polymorph, and then all of a sudden Houston and Croto are in trouble. So I think if Creed adapts to this new strategy, of just, you know what, if they're going to go after Drainer, Drainer can bait them Houston into the open, get a Hammer of Justice on him at the same time. Burley gets caught in crowd control, and that's in a window of opportunity for them in this matchup. I don't really think they can go after Burley too much here, as Drainer has just been pressured so much, but it seems like with the positioning change from Drainer, him using a lot of his mobility to just survive, and you can see him on his mount right now. It looks like he will be able to hold on. He just has to hold on a little bit longer. Beautiful Hammer of Justice on Houston. They might be able to punish him. Burley going over. That was, of course, the anti-magic zone as well on that combustion. So a fair trade, but I really like that they're punishing Houston for the moments he overextends.
Yeah, and that was so spot on. They did exactly what you were talking about there. Ooh, they had a full counter spell. Crow in a lot of trouble here. Trinkets. And he might just go down here. Drainer dropping down the law there. But unfortunately for him, Croto is going to barely survive there. Saza looking for the Ring of Frost here. And this is exactly how they need to adapt to them. And kind of tunneling down Drainer. Just go for those Hammer of Justices when Houston is out of line of sight, and look for those sheeps, and that's exactly what they did there, and that's going to put them back into the game here. Nice sacrifice coming out here onto Trent. Drainer just going to be looking to stabilize himself here, looking to drag Houston behind the pillar. Potentially Drainer in a lot of trouble. Sharpened Blade. Drainer, though, with the Night Fae Blink, with the Freedom, looking to blink away one more time here. Word of Glory coming out here once again, resetting his Hammer of Justice here as well onto Burley. And now once again here, Saza, he's going to have his combustion potentially rotating back up kind of soon. And when he does, that's going to be a checkmate situation. Houston could go down. There's no anti-magic zone. There's no trinket on Burley, as well as Houston. They're on a full counter spell. Drainer in a lot of trouble here. Could just go down here. There's the Blade Storm. Divine Steed coming out here. Does he have a Word of Glory? He needs to potentially drop it there. And there it is. Word of Glory once again behind the pillar on that Divine Steed. Going to keep himself alive for now. Croto in a lot of trouble here still. The Guardian of the Forgotten Queen as well used onto Trent in that exchange. 40 seconds for Drainer's wings. When he has those, he should be completely fine. He's gonna have his Divine Shield as well. Saza, though, no ice block. He has a Cauterize though. What are you gonna do here, Drainer? Keeping your mage alive. Nice peels coming out from Trent with that defensive Stormbolt with the intervene. And Trent is going to save the day, but now he's getting swapped too. And Saza still in a lot of trouble here. Needs about 20 more seconds here before they're gonna be able to survive. And this is a big setup here. Dragon's Breath coming out. Saza looking for the poly. He gets it with the help of the Arm Mastery. And here comes the combustion. Croto is gonna get deleted here. No Spirit Link available for a while here. Saza also taking so much damage. Somebody's gonna fall. It could be Saza. There's the Cauterize triggering. Saza blinking back, catches that fat heal with that alter time, and he is going to be fine for now. But that was an incredibly close moment. Drainer now with his wings available should be able to stabilize his team for now.
Meteor coming down on Croto. Burley's in crowd control. They need to kill Croto here. Can they bring it to a game 5? Potential reverse sweep. They're against the wall, on the ropes. They're running for their lives, getting cleaved down by Croto and Houston. Houston falls off the side. Sasta can kite him now with that freedom. Houston's trying to solo him. I don't think he'll be able to. Burley's stunned up. They can swap to Burley. They're going after him, but Saza wasn't there to do any damage. They're not going to kill Burley, and just that stun alone. Saza getting gripped around now. Frost Nova. Burley still getting soloed by Tren. They're trying to take out the Shaman. It's do or die for them here on match point. Burley trades defensive cooldowns, looking like he's going to recover with the Ascendance. Drainer buys time to get his Divine Shield out off cooldown. He's charging in, knocking Burley around on his Ascendance, trying to disrupt his recovery, stunning him with no trinket. Can they get a clean swap onto Burley? They're popping the Warbreaker. Big Avengers Shield Judgment. Burley drops the grounding. They blind up Trend. Burley ducks for cover downstairs. Drainer's still chasing after him here, looking to try and do as much damage as possible on that Protection Paladin, keeping him low health for the Combustion coming up in about 30 seconds. Saza lobbing in Lava Burst, but gets stunned up. He doesn't have much here. Saza soul shapes to midfield. Proto chasing after him. Burley pummeled for a moment. Trent's trying to solo Burley. Will he be able to put the team on his back here and find a kill? They need to wait just a few more seconds for that Combustion. They stun up Burley. Drainer's trying to help him out, going for a Hammer of Justice. Can they KO him? Phoenix Flames flying in. Burley's got Spirit Link Totem. He likely needs to trade it here in the near future. Combustion coming up in 14 seconds. Drainer knocking away his opponents, doing whatever he can to keep his team in this tournament, but defenses are still so thin.
Ooh, they are. Tren trying to just avoid damage. Creed right now, they just have to avoid these melee at all costs, and they're doing a great job kiting so far. Saz is just going for polymorphs, just trying to slow down the game at 25% dampening. Drainer, this is where he really struggles. He needs 9 seconds on his Avenging Wrath. That's going to really empower his healing, but Burley, not too many cooldowns left, not too much mana left in the tank. Still has some cooldowns to work with. This is going to be a Combustion, but it's grounded. Anti-Magic Zone drops out as well. I don't know how big a fan I am of that Combustion, but Saza, unfortunately, at the very least, they got the Anti-Magic Zone, but I don't know if he's going to have much more time. Looks like Guardian of the Forgotten Queen does drop. That's, of course, going to be the Avenging Wrath from Drainer as well, and Creed does manage to stabilize, but at 30% dampening, this is when we see their roster get really, really unstable. They're just all over Burley. Drainer and Trend right now, they're just on Burley. Saza just surviving, getting out crowd control, and Burley is in a lot of trouble. He has a Spirit Link Totem if he needs it, but needs to play very careful at this point of the game. Drainer getting low, throws up the Sacrifice to die by the sword, and it looks like they are just going for it at this point. Saza just cannot get there for any sort of damage assistance. He gets caught into a stun. Beautiful Syndragosa there by Croto, as Trent is just continuing this assault, getting hold on just a little bit longer. Burley trying to escape. Big Rallying Cry comes in. Dragon's Breath from Saza, a triple. Drainer still full mana. Burley barely able to hold on. This Earthen Wall Totem, kind of the last line of defense as well of that Spirit Link Totem. This is one more clean setup. Let's see how Creed approaches this.
Yeah, we're going to see Trent right now in big trouble. Drainer!
Oh,
he uses the Divine Shield. Oh, he War Stomps the Shatter, and he's going to get Dragon's Breath on it. And Drainer barely survives here, going around the corner, but the bubble ends. He gets the warp, he gets it off, and one more execute should do it. He gets stunned on it. Houston trying to connect his target. Drainer is still able to survive right now, and they're getting a lot of pressure here, but now the rally's going to fall. Trent is so low. Drainer is so low. Saza just doing whatever he can to keep the team alive. Houston now getting swapped to, and Trent is disarmed. No way! They killed Houston with the Combustion. They get the swap there, barely trinketing, doesn't get the Spirit Link. There's nobody around him, and I can't believe it. But now we got a 2-2 situation here.
This is actually unbelievable. I mean, you really do have to give credit to Creed. There were so many moments in the game where Drainer got exceptionally low, but he really did a good job using his mobility, using his soul shape in order to kite and survive and buy himself enough time to get the holy power to get out those Word of Glories. I mean, that was well played. I mean, Creed, they managed to bring the game late, and they didn't completely fall apart. I mean, this was just such a scary moment. You can see Drainer, he used his Divine Shield. It gets down to like 10% health. Trent is able to get out the commanding shout. Drainer still just kiting around, trying to survive, making sure he plays as calm and cool and collected as he possibly can. Even this moment right here, opting to throw the heal onto Trent instead of himself. And then, because he realizes he's so far away, but as soon as Houston jumps in, it's kind of an uh-oh moment. He's got no defensive cooldowns. He's basically in a 2v1 situation versus Trent and Drainer. Saza throws in the Combustion, and it was just too little too late. And Creed is looking like they might be able to reverse sweep this with this composition.
Oh my god, it definitely looks like they're gonna 3-0 that, or 3-2 this on the side of Creed here. They're gonna potentially win this next game here. We are going to a game number 5 here. We can see the match results here. We can see all that healing from the Prot Paladin, that damage as well. And what an insane game from Creed. You guys, you're absolutely right. Creed just pulling out all the stops to keep their team alive, and Drainer didn't look like he was nervous for a second there, and they are going to be going to game number 5 once again, upping their chances to win this series and turn it around in their favor. Stupities, they really, I mean, they won on the smaller map. That was where we were worried. They didn't win on Hook Point, but Dalaran was locked in for that last one, and now they found success.
Yeah, I think just flipping the strategy around mid-game rather than just committing to one and being flexible in the game and adapting to who's in a bad position. I really felt like Houston got jebaited right at the end. He's like, how did I not kill this guy? I'm just sitting out here. He was at 1%. How did I not kill? And then, oh no, I'm going to die? Like, what? How does, if I was Houston, I would just be so furious in the final moments of that game.
That was rough. Well, going into game number 5 here, Zico, what do we want to see Roman Pirates maybe do differently if they don't want another situation like that?
I think for them, it's just keep up the pressure and find that moment where, you know, they don't have those wings. They don't have, you know, any really big healing cooldowns from Drainer, and just try to hit anybody you can, try to create as much pressure as possible. I think in that last game, I really liked that they went after Drainer a lot. But I don't think that they should just overextend and compromise their positioning too much going after Drainer. I think, you know, if Drainer is completely safe and he's away, but he doesn't have his wings, just go after the mage, go after the warrior, just anybody that you can hit. And hopefully for them, they can kind of win in a similar fashion that they did in those first 2 games. Because right now, I think the game or the series is spiraling a little bit out of their hands. And also, like Sid mentioned, you know, if I was Houston as well, at the end there, I'm like, what? I'm the one who's going to die now? That can definitely tilt you and kind of carry on for that next game as well.
Yeah, the mental game right now has got to be tough for Roman Pirates. It's certainly a frustrating position to be in here, especially when they only have one more chance not to get knocked out of this tournament here. All of the Holy Paladins across World of Warcraft are like sitting there like, man, maybe I ought to re-gear here for Prot Paladin, but it's looking like it's working out pretty well here on the side of Creed. Blackrock Hold, that's going to be the map that we're going to here. That was locked in by Roman Pirates here, and I don't know if this is really gonna help them much at all, Ben.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not really convinced that a particular map is going to help out too much. I think Creed right now, they have their strategy under control. So if we see Roman Pirates go after Saza, they go after Tren, Drainer just kind of sits back. Maybe he pushes in for crowd control every once in a while, and they just kind of focus on damage and setups onto Burley. If they're going after Drainer a lot in the match, that's when you go after Houston, you go after Croto, and you allow Saza to basically just do whatever he wants to Burley. He can just, anytime he has Dragon's Breath, he can just shimmer on top of Burley, Dragon's Breath sheep him, nothing Burley can do about it. And if Houston and Croto are kind of distracted, chasing Drainer all over the map, because Drainer, on that Protection Paladin, especially playing Night Fae, he has a lot of mobility, so he is very capable of dragging, these DPS to unoptimal positions. And on Blackrock Hold, there's a lot of those positions available. So the Roman Pirates, I don't think this map is going to really pay them a lot of favors. I think it is going to be up to them to just make sure they can overwhelm Drainer, because it seems like that's really the key. Like, the Protection Paladin has like a threshold of where he can get off enough holy power to actually keep his team alive, especially himself, as he does take bonus damage in PvP. So if they can get on Drainer, not allow him to escape and kind of just all in him, I think that's what Roman Pirates really has to do if they want to find victory in this match. At least that's what seemed the most convincing to me.
All right, well, we'll see who looks solid for game number 5 here, going into Blackrock Hold. It's Creed versus Roman Pirates, both teams on match point.
Yeah, and this is so funny because they actually made it to top 8 on the side of Creed, reverse sweeping the runner-up from that last cup. So if they can reverse sweep their way forward in this bracket as well. That would just be absolutely crazy here, and managing to turn 2 situations like that with their backs against the wall. And now we're going to see the opener here. Burley immediately taking a big chunk of damage from that meteor with the combustion, and he is going to be completely safe here. Actually, maybe not. Trent is doing a lot of damage here. Oh, the fear. Oh, Burley in a lot of trouble. Houston goes in here to back him up there with the disarm, but they do force out the trinket here. Very nice opener, I gotta say here for Creed. Excellent offensive fear there as well by Trent. And Trent, for a person who hasn't really mained warrior, he is definitely doing a good job so far in this tournament.
All right, let's see if we can keep it up. Burley dropping that earthen wall totem a little bit preemptively. Lands it on the Hodge, so still they're committed. I don't think they kill him through this, right? A couple condemns, not enough damage. Burley with that nice earthen wall. Reflect on the polymorph onto Saza. Not able to get there and support the team whatsoever on Burley. That was a nice play on his part. I think Creed got a bit overexcited, having gotten so much from Burley there. They kind of jumped the gun on going after him again. Tren wants to try and stay on target here after Burley. A nice part about Tren chasing Burley is that he's not stacked for cleave either on Saza. Drainer charging in, going for Hammer of Justice. Saza going for defensive polymorphs onto the Death Knight, trying to help and remove him from the fight and go after Burley. Burley not having a great time here as Tren lays in that Warbreaker. Houston pulls back, disarming it. Good play, leaping back over to the Mage, pummeling Saza. Beautiful shutdown by Houston across the board here in that play. Tren with it. I don't know if I agree with that leap. Tren now rooted up in the room. That was a very heroic leap. Tren's in timeout now.
Leap, yeah.
Tren's in timeout, making his way back with Door of Shadows.
Yeah, Door of Shadows going to be looking a little bit more heroic there, and let's see if he can get to his target. Just caught in chains of ice right now. Kind of struggling. I mean, Croto doing a good job getting those chains of ice. Finally, Avatar is going to be coming in, and Tren able to reconnect to his target. In the meantime, Saza taking quite a bit of damage. Full Stormbolt does land, and Saza just hasn't really been able to connect to Burley. I mean, I like what Burley's doing. He's just playing as far away as possible from Saza in the match. Houston and Croto really not taking too much damage, but Houston now just getting one shot. Absolutely deleted. And with that combustion, Saza can definitely pressure Houston in this match. They get a lot of cooldowns there. They get the rallying cry. They get the die by the sword. Now Houston is not going to be feeling nearly safe in the matchup.
Yeah, Houston still actually quite low. They got a full sheep here on the Burley. Burley trinketing out of that one. Nice push here by Creed. And they still have those wings as well to fall back on. So they can keep going. And now big push here on the Burley. No trinket. And he has no anti-magic zone as well. No follow-up there, unfortunately. No DR stuns or anything like that. Trent wasn't able to get it. And now Trent actually taking a lot of damage, trading out his die by the sword. Drainer also trading out his trinket and those wings. And that means basically everybody on the side of Creed is going to be very, very tough to kill here. Saza doing a good job kiting around there with the Night Fae Soul Shape. And Drainer going to be able to keep his team alive. Still a lot of pressure here. And Drainer now going to be trading out the Guardian of the Forgotten Queen. His wings have timed out. Trent still quite low, but he does finally recover there. And now once again, Trent going to be overextending into the room. Saza going to be playing in the midfield. He doesn't want to go inside that room and get stuck there. And he's just going to hit whatever he can, crowd control wherever he can. And right now, Sheep on the Croto going to be expiring there, but he does connect with a bit of damage there with the Meteor onto Burley. And now once again, just going to be using his altar time, his images, and just try to survive here by Drainer time to get his wings back. And Trent here once again on a little bit of a timeout there, stuck in the root, and using that Door of Shadows to get back into the fight here. And Trent has his Avatar active right now, so he's doing a lot of damage. And now he's going to activate that Blade Storm. Drainer now charging in, knocking up Burley, but Burley not going to be taking too much damage since he does have that Ascendance active. And both teams trading very effectively here so far in this game number 5 here, Sid.
Drainer looking for world first top 6 in tournament format as a solo prop paladin. Will he be able to pull it off here? They just need to win one more game, but it is dicey. Cooldown's looking quite limited. They're trying to go after Burley. Burley anticipates, drops Healing Tide Totem, and with these Chains of Ice from Croto, but gets freedomed away by Drainer and Trent. They're all over Burley. Can Saza help support in this Hammer of Justice? Who is going to save Burley?
Houston!
Oh, they swapped to Houston! Big swap onto Houston. Houston was ready, though. Now Drainer in trouble, getting swapped to himself, but maybe dying through Die by the Sword. Huge Fire Mage damage from that Rune of Power Combustion. Houston ducks for cover in the starting room. Croto goes after Trent, trying to force him away from his team. Burley's desperately trying to recover with healing waves. They grip Saza. Saza blinks the grip, tries to soul shape, but this is the Abomination Limb pulling Saza back into his clutches, pulling him once again. Will he have a third blink to escape to safety, or he's trying to hold out for it? Doesn't have it. Dragon's Breath onto the Death Knight. Burley trinkets the Hammer of Justice there. Houston is still very low on health. If Drainer can stay aggressive here and keep Houston low, they may get a Spirit Link Totem. They stun up Houston. Burley bombing and big heals with that Spirit Walker's Grace immunity. Burley getting knocked away. Drainer trying to retreat. Saza trying to help out with crowd control. Ring of Frost and Polymorph get Drainer out of there. They got the Glider's Medallion. They need to try and reset Combustion. Set up for a kill on Burley.
Saza's just spamming out Fireball after Fireball. It seems like he just combusted, and now 25 seconds left. I mean, Houston and Crota, I feel like they have to shut that down because guess what? I mean, Houston, he's not going to have that Die by the Sword available for the next combustion. They have a small moment where they can actually take him down. Drainer getting targeted, though. Has to do a good job kiting here. Looks like the Blessing of Freedom will be enough for now. Trent actually going after Burley. He's got no trinket. If they can catch him in a stun silence, Burley might actually get dropped. Just need to get a surprise attack. Let's see what Saza decides to do with that combustion. This is going to be a big moment here. Trent leaping over, but unfortunately not able to connect to Burley. Doing a great job line of sighting him. Trent now going to be able to leap over. Can they get the stun? Full Hammer of Justice. Combustion does get ripped out. Burley getting low. He gets knocked out of it. The combustion's still available. And Burley is getting low, but looks like he is able to hold on. The commanding shout once again. Plus the Astral Shift. Plus the anti-magic zone. More than enough defense for Burley to survive, but Creed is going to be more than happy in that exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. They forced out pretty much a major defensive from everyone. Triple Dragon's Breath here. Full Sheep onto Burley. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. He's going to be taking a lot of damage, but a nice blinding sleep there coming out from Tren. Coming out there from Chrono, sorry. Going to be saving the day there. And now Drainer might have to use his Divine Shield here, but look at that. Tren with an excellent intervene there. Going to be saving his healer from using that cooldown. And now he has the wings. I don't think, he does have to use that Divine Shield after all. And he is going to be having those wings, so should have no problems keeping his team alive here. And now once again, Houston in a lot of trouble. Full Sheep secured. Burley trinkets is going to be enough. He gets the Spirit Link, and it's going to be enough for now, I think. But Burley still caught up in crowd control, still caught up in the fear, and still a lot of pressure now. Drainer might just be going down here. He's going to be using the Divine Steed, running around the corner. Guardian of the Forgotten Queen on himself. Do they have a Stormbolt for it? Do they have a stun for it? Houston is just charging after him. Look, I'm not sure if he noticed, but Drainer was immune to damage there. Still just chasing him down, overextending. And now Roman Pirates here, they've had enough. They're just going after Drainer and basically just trying to tunnel him down. And this could be very scary. Houston now overextended, Full Sheep secured. There's the Meteor Saza ripping in with the damage. And there is the Syndra goes.
Drainer's trying to close it out.
Drainer blinks in. Can he get it? There's the damage. And I can't believe it. Creed has done it. And look at Trent. So happy, smiling. He knows they just reverse sweep Roman Pirates here. Unbelievable.
Man. So I have a question for you guys. You know, I want to start playing Arena. My friend's gonna be a warrior. I'm gonna be a healer. Which healer should I play? Holy Paladin, Red Paladin, Prot Paladin? What do you guys think?
Red Paladin. Yeah, Red sounds good. Red could work as well, yeah.